Hi, welcome to Teddy Bear's Toy Box. Today we're having story time and we're reading a story called Flopsy, the bunny who wiggles his ears. Before we begin our story, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. We really do appreciate it. Flopsy, the bunny. A new bunny came to the house one fine day. He peeped out of his hutch in the corner of the garden. My name is Flopsy, said the bunny. Lucifer the duck, who was always curious, went over to see him. That's a silly name for a bunny, he said. Isn't it? Replied Flopsy. And then a little later, my ears wiggle. Just then, Algernon the puppy came along. Algernon's tail wagged, said Lucifer. The bunny looked at Algernon, and Algernon looked at the bunny. I'm Algernon, he said, and this is Lucifer. There are Simon and Sally Sparrow. Lucifer continued, there is the house, and in the house are Priscilla the cat, Small Boy, and the grown-ups. Thank you, said Flopsy politely. But how? How can Lucifer be a duck? If his name is Lucifer, he must be a drake. But if he's a duck, he should have another name, a girl's name, and be she, not he. Lucifer and Algernon both looked at him. He sounded very clever. The bunny turned to Lucifer. Well, what are you? He asked. A duck or a drake? Lucifer turned his head away so that no one could see him blushing. He stood, first on one leg and then on the other. He waggled his tail, he flapped his wings. Finally, looking very uncomfortable, he had to admit that he did not know. Flopsy thought, how silly they are. Still, he wanted to make a good impression, so he wiggled his ears. The duck and the puppy looked at him in astonishment. He really was a very clever bunny. He could wiggle his ears in a most extraordinary manner. He could wiggle them both together or one at a time. He could wiggle them backwards and forwards and sideways. Lucifer was still feeling uncomfortable because he did not know whether he was a duck or a drake. So he tried to look dignified and said nothing. Algernon wagged his tail to impress the bunny, but Flopsy did not notice. You see, Flopsy did not notice that the puppy had a very special tail, which sometimes wagged by itself. He thought it was just an ordinary tail. Just then a door banged, and they heard the sound of running feet. What's that? Cried Flopsy in alarm. It's Small Boy, said Lucifer, smiling happily. Small Boy came into the garden with Priscilla the cat tucked under his arm. Hello, Flop, he said to the bunny. Flopsy wiggled his ears even more. He wanted Small Boy to be proud of him. Priscilla the cat was jealous because Small Boy had a new pet. She rubbed her fur against Small Boy. She purred and meowed to make sure that he noticed her. Small Boy had brought them all something to eat. He had brought some lettuce leaves for the bunny and some bread for Lucifer the duck. He had brought some crumbs for Simon and Sally Sparrow and a tiny piece of fish for Priscilla. He had a lump of sugar for Algernon and a piece of chocolate for himself. Just then, a grown-up came out of the house with a shopping basket on her arm. Algernon was pleased to see her. His tail wagged. The grown-up called Small Boy, and he went with her. Then Small Boy called Algernon, and he went too, proudly carrying the basket. Stella the cat was sleepy. She went into the house for a nap. Simon and Sally Sparrow flew away. There was no one left but Flopsy and Lucifer, and they had nothing to do. The bunny wiggled his ears again. Lucifer looked at him and said, You're just showing off. I don't like you. They glared at each other. Flopsy turned away to nibble his lettuce leaves, but unfortunately he had eaten them all up. Lucifer started toward the other end of the garden. Just then a strange dog came sniffing at the garden gate. Lucifer moved closer to the rabbit hutch. The dog went away, and it was very quiet, much too quiet in the garden. Flopsy smiled at Lucifer. Let's be friends, he said suddenly. When Algernon and Small Boy came back from their shopping trip, Lucifer was trying to put some green leaves into the bunny's hutch. Your friends, cried Small Boy, and he began to whistle. He could only make one whistle high up and one whistle low down. He could not whistle a tune, but he was happy. Algernon wagged his tail. The sparrows chirped. Priscilla came out of the house, and Lucifer quacked. Flopsy did not feel like showing off at all. He felt warm and comfortable and at home. The sun was shining merrily. Small Boy and his pets were all happy together. The end. Thanks for joining us today for story time. Bye.